in the morning also, Rukmini going to Bhavani's temple, taking darshan. At that time also Krishna didn't came. Then when Rukmini came out from the temple, and then also Krishna didn't came. And when Shishupal and Rukmini, they were only between inches. There is only inches between Rukmini and Shishupal. Till that time also Krishna didn't came. Krishna wanted to check that what is the thought Rukmini is having about me. She is having a positive thought. If she has negative thought, I'll go away from here. So then, till that time Krishna tested. And when Krishna is convinced that Rukmini is completely committed, faithful, and absolutely she doesn't have any other thought other than him, then Krishna immediately appeared and took her away. And then you mentioned one very heavy statement that if Krishna can test Rukmini to that extent, she is a goddess of fortune. And even being a goddess of fortune also, Krishna tests to that extent, you can be rest assured that Krishna is going to test on us also. So, of course it is wonderful lecture, but it's very heavy class also. So, Maharaj, I was just thinking, recently we went for the yatra, and I had an opportunity to meet one of the sannyasis of Udupi. And that sannyasi had taken sannyas from last 44 years. So I had a talk with him, I got an opportunity to talk with him. And he was also telling me the same thing, that don't take Krishna consciousness so serious, don't cheaply. Krishna will going to go on testing you. And this lifetime, even if you go and surrendering everything, then also don't think it will be a last life for you. Krishna, and he himself, he being a sannyasi of Madhva, he feels said that even if you surrender totally for the whole lifetime, don't think it might be a last life in this material world. You have to do this way for number of births. Then Krishna might take you seriously, and then you are an eligible candidate for go back home, back to Godhead. So when we see Rukmini's case, these sannyasis, and even in Bhagavatam also, Maharaj, we know the case of Bharat Maharaj, who gave his whole life only for a small attachment to a deer, he has to come back again. Then we know the case of Chitraketu Maharaj, who was also very serious. He was already a pure devotee, but little bit negligence, and again he had to become a Vatrasur. So all these examples are making it clear that, is it so easy? Is it so easy that we can go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime itself? By seeing all these examples, we feel it fearful that are we dreaming? It might not be a reality this way. It might be a dream for us. Even if we know that, okay, you surrender totally, you give your lifelong commitment until the last breath of life, you go on struggling, and Krishna give his causeless mercy to you. But seeing these examples, they are the topmost people who have surrendered totally, yet it is difficult for them. Then what about us, a product of Bombay, staying in Kali Yuga with so much anarthas, and we are struggling till our last breath. We will not be becoming purified. So can you just tell that what hope do we have in this juncture, seeing this type of examples?
Thank you. You just gave nice class. Do you want to ask if anyone has questions? In all of these cases, Krishna did come. Krishna did come for Rukmini. Krishna did come for the Brajbasis. Krishna did come for Chitraketu. What other example you gave? Krishna did come for Bharat Maharaj. Yes? So this is Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna does come for his devotee. Dhruva Maharaj was tested, and Krishna did come for him. Prahlad was tested, and Krishna did come for him. Draupadi was tested, and Krishna did come for her. Kontiya pratijanahina me bhakta pranashati. Krishna will come for if we take shelter. And Krishna did come for Rukmini. Yes? And they lived in Dwarka together. And then Krishna tested her again. He said, I'm not qualified for you, I'm leaving. And she fainted. And Krishna said, no, I'm just joking. So, it is the truth that is within all of these. It's not whether you live in Bombay or whether you live in Madhuban Forest or whether you live in Kundina or whether you live anywhere. We ultimately all have to take shelter of Krishna in whatever situation we're in. And the impediments, the difficulties in life are meant to help us to actually take shelter of Krishna. The quantitative nature of great personalities we cannot imitate. But the qualitative lesson is that in whatever situation, whether we're Hanuman or whether we're a little squirrel, if we're sincere and earnest to please Krishna, Krishna will help us. Sita was, when after almost 10 months, 11 months living in Sri Lanka, Ram said, I cannot accept you. She entered fire. Yes, everyone was crying. Even Lakshman was crying. Even Ram was crying. He tested. What was Sita thinking at the time? And then later on, he sent her to Valmiki Muni's ashram with his 2 children within her. And Rukmini, we see what the test that she's coming through now. And Sri Radha and gopis after Krishna left. These are the goddesses of fortune. Sita, Rukmini, Sri Radha. But it shows the total selfless purity of their love and devotion. Unconditional. On the highest level. We cannot imitate them, but we can understand the principle and apply it to our life. And if we just apply that principle to our life, Krishna will come for us in the same way. He will be there for us. His promise. He's come in His name. The nature of this world, Srila Prabhupada writes in a purport that the entire creation is designed in a way to facilitate rebellious souls coming back to their original Krishna conscious nature. The inevitability of death, the threefold miseries, miseries of body and mind, miseries caused by other beings, loved ones, relatives, enemies, fear of snakes, biting of mosquitoes, too much heat, too much cold, earthquakes and rainstorms, all these threefold miseries, and all the happiness and pleasures too. They're all specifically designed just to give people the opportunity to return to their original natural Krishna conscious condition. So we have to see the whole world in that view. Then we don't become so personally frustrated with situations. If somebody's not nice to you, you could think, why is this person doing this to me? And you could really forget Krishna in that state. Or you could just see the truth underlying it all. The whole material creation, and this is all part of creation, everyone and everything, it's all meant to facilitate me taking shelter of Krishna. So this is the way I'm supposed to take shelter of Krishna now. Isn't that a beautiful thing? We should see the whole world and life and everything in that situation. We have to live with dignity, we have to live with morality, we have to live with integrity. That's part of our service to Krishna. Amanina manadena. But at the same time, it's all to help us to helplessly call out for Krishna's mercy. And that's what Rukmini was doing. Mahajano yena gata sapanta, and that's what she's teaching us to do. In her situation, she's teaching us. Now, we may be frustrated by some little things in this world, or some big things in this world. Devotees sometimes get disease, even terminal diseases. Sometimes devotees become economically crushed by certain situations beyond their control. Yes? Sometimes we want a husband or we want a wife, but we're just not getting it. Sometimes we're working so hard in our exams and there's so much frustration and everything like that and so much competition. We want a job and we don't get it. We want entrance to college, we don't get it. We want to go to do a big program somewhere and then we get sick and we can't do it. Yes? So many things. Our children don't obey us. People leave us. Every kind of difficulty in this world. We have to deal with them. Arjuna fought for Dharma. You can't give up the fight for Dharma. But internally, Krishna said, whether you win or lose is not important. What's important is you try to win because you're trying to please me. Yes, and you're trying to protect others in my service. But every situation should be seen that actually it's just a facility for me to take shelter of Krishna. Because everything in this world is going to perish in due course of time, physically. But it's all a wonderful facility to help us go back home, back to Godhead. It's a qualitative condition. Rukmini did not give up Dharma. She was getting dressed in the right clothes with the right jewels and taking the right type of bath. Everything was there. But she was doing it for Krishna. And she knew that Krishna was going to be there for her. Maybe not this time. That was her prayer. If you come now, you'll save me. But if not, even if I have to go through birth after birth after birth after birth, I will never give my heart to anything or anyone else. I am yours. Yes? Until you finally receive me. Mukunda Dutt. Lord Chaitanya said, I never want to see him again. Such a great devotee. He was the topmost kirtan singer. And Lord Chaitanya said, I never want to see him again. And Mukunda was crying in anguish. Will I ever see him again? Will I ever? And his cries were so emotional, the devotees' hearts melted. And Srivas came to Lord Chaitanya and said, please, what did Mukunda do? He said, I don't want to see him again. And Srivas said, will you ever see him again? He said, after 10 million births. And then Mukunda Dutt, he heard that. He became very happy. After 10 million births, I'll get to see the Lord. And he started dancing in joy. And then Lord Chaitanya brought him immediately. So Mukunda knew that Lord Chaitanya, whether it takes this birth or whether it takes 10 million births or 100 million births, Krishna will be there if we take shelter. But what is the value of getting Krishna? We're willing to work so hard for some money, for some fame, for some prestige, for some power, for our families, which is all, valuable things. But to get Krishna, to give Krishna, that's the ultimate. That's eternal. It's the joy of the soul. How important, how valuable it is. If we understand its value, then we see everything in its proper perspective. Otherwise, we see everything else as so valuable and Krishna is just something on the side. Yes? So these great personalities are teaching us how to see the world, how to see life, and how to see Krishna. Can we follow in their footsteps? Rukmini didn't think, well, if Krishna doesn't come, Shishupal, somehow or other I'll adjust. Because I'm a Vedic woman and everything, I'll adjust him. He might be a demon, but he's living in great prosperity and palace and everything like that. And she would have adjusted if she was married to him, externally. But internally, her heart was totally for Krishna. And ultimately, Krishna was there for her. And ultimately, Krishna will be there for us if through the tests and the trials of life we take shelter. Sharanagati.
Maharaj, I fully agree what you say. But the doubt is there that taking the example of Rukmini, taking the example of Mukunda, they had a tremendous intensity that we want Mahaprabhu, we want Krishna. And due to that reason, they didn't have to go for so many number of births and everything. And they could get Krishna's mercy, Mahaprabhu's mercy immediately. That fear is there in our life that we know that Krishna is going to take care of us because we are trying to show our surrender. But we don't have, that fear is that we don't have that level of intensity. And if we don't have that level of intensity, then again we have to come back. And somehow by Prabhupada's books and everything, we have been so much screwed that we want to finish our business in this lifetime. But that intensity is not there, then we have to come back. So how to see that everything goes together in a proper way?
Rukmini was thinking, I'm not fit for Krishna. My karma is not good enough for Krishna. Even she was thinking like this. She wasn't thinking, because of my intensity, I am qualified. Did she say that? She said, I'm not fit. I'm unqualified. So, my dear Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu, you are more or less saying the same thing. We should never think we're qualified. If we think we're qualified, we won't take shelter. That type of humility is part of the process of taking shelter. It's not about me, it's not about my intensity, it's about Krishna's grace. We are depending not on our intensity, we're depending on Krishna's grace. And if we're sincere, Krishna will give us grace. According to our little tiny, we cannot have the same intensity as the goddess of fortune, as Srimati Radharani. Bharat Maharaj, the whole India, the whole planet Earth was named after him. It's not that you can have the same intensity as him. But we can be sincere and cultivate our own intensity and be humble, as they were humble. Yes. As Jad Bharat, he was really humble. He was totally humble. He was offering all respect even to the people who were about to kill him. Krishna was always there for him. Prahlad Maharaj, when Nrsimhadev was standing before him, he said, I'm just the son of a demon with so many material desires. Yes? So this humility is the quality that makes the intensity of our taking shelter is not our qualification. Krishna's grace is our qualification. But when we have humility and we don't feel deserving and we take shelter with intensity according to our own little capacity, then Krishna will be there for us. So on one level, if we become complacent and think, well, I live in Bombay, so I can't take shelter, so Krishna will come anyway, then that is not true devotion. So we have our duties, we have our trials, we have our shortcomings, we have our conditionings, they're all there. But if we're actually sincere, Krishna will be there for us. That's what these stories are teaching. Is your class is going to continue? It's all right? You said it's all right. Thank you. He said it's all right, but next class he'll ask the same question. It's like hunger. You feed, and the same stomach is happy, but then the same stomach's hungry next time. So this need to hear. This nasta prayesha bhadreshu, this hunger to hear more and more with a sense of urgency is what Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu is teaching us. Thank you. Is there one more question? Yes. No.
Very smart question. Recently I read, I'm not able to connect and some back to God, that any service which anything we are doing, if there is dint of sense gratification, then we have to get next life.
Is that a question?
Yeah. So it means, suppose I am seeing some drama and somewhere I get little feeling of that I'm enjoying that particular scene. I'm not connecting properly, but anything I'm enjoying, which is my enjoyment is there, that enjoyment will force me to take next life.
So is that a statement or a question?
Is it so that if I enjoy anything, I have to take next life?
Srila Prabhupada told us to chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So do you enjoy being happy? Enjoyment is the nature of the soul. To enjoy in the spirit of Jivara Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas is Krishna consciousness. The question is, we may be happy serving, but when there is tests that make it difficult to serve, do we give up because we don't like to do it? Or do we continue because it's for Krishna's pleasure? So whether we enjoy or don't enjoy, do we continue chanting the holy names? Sometimes we enjoy chanting. That's nice, as long as we're chanting. Sometimes we don't enjoy chanting. That's nice, as long as we're chanting. Sometimes we enjoy being kind and respectful to our family members and others in Krishna consciousness. And sometimes it's really a test, but we do it. Tapasya means we accept what's favorable for Krishna consciousness and leave aside what's unfavorable. We may enjoy it, we may not enjoy it. Sanatana Dharma, we perform it anyway, and that's Krishna consciousness. And through pleasing Krishna in this way, by Krishna's grace, we become free from the egoistic enjoyments. But we can't become maniac depressed and mentally speculative about, oh, you know, I've come to do something for Krishna, but I'm enjoying it. That means I'm a rascal and I have to take another birth. That's not the way devotees think. Just serve.
Not go together. Sorry.
Huh?
Spiritual life and Krishna consciousness cannot go together. That's also some statement somewhere read. Sense gratification cannot go together.
What is sense gratification? When you see the deities and you feel great happiness, is that sense gratification? Yes, but it's good sense gratification. It's favorable sense gratification. The spirit of service, the spirit of performing Krishna's will for Krishna's pleasure is our focus. Krishna wants to see us happy, but he wants to see us happy for the right reason. This is a very Mayavad conception. We're not Mayavadis. Mayavad means any type of pleasure is Maya. But Krishna consciousness, if it's pleasure in connection to Krishna, it's bhakti. Yes? Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, enjoy this prasadam to your full satisfaction. So what does that mean? I'm going to take another birth because I like the taste of this Mahaprasad? Is that what you're saying? Just see how condemned and useless I am. I'm going to have to take another birth because I like this prasad. You're supposed to enjoy the prasad to your full satisfaction, but the idea is you're enjoying Krishna's mercy. You're seeing it in relationship with Krishna. So whether you enjoy or whether you suffer, do we carry on with our devotional service with enthusiasm? That consciousness brings us back home, back to Krishna. That attracts Krishna's grace. So don't worry about whether I'm thinking, oh, I'm enjoying this or I'm not enjoying. The main thing is, Am I offending Vaishnavas? If I am, Krishna's not enjoying. Am I disrespecting people? Krishna's not enjoying. Am I complaining about things that are always happening to me? Krishna's not enjoying. Just live as a Vaishnava with appreciation, with gratitude, with respect, with humility, with enthusiasm, with determination, and Krishna will enjoy. And Krishna's enjoyment is going to bring you back to Godhead, not whether you're enjoying or not. And if you enjoy giving Krishna enjoyment, that gives the greatest enjoyment to Krishna. Does that answer your whatever it was? Okay, after those two questions, I'm afraid to ask for any other questions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.